Good morning, everybody. We are live. It is the right side of campus. We're live on a Tuesday, February 27, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus, getting you ready here for another day, another dollar in sports. Got basketball, got some hockey, got a lot of stuff going on right now. Donnie Rightside joins me. Donnie, you're my co-host. Um, I'll tell you what, we got a lot to get into. Some good things going on in this town right now. How you doing today?
Yeah, doing good, man. Nice little night off. Got to watch some college basketball last night, see what happened. Also got to watch a good hockey game last night with the Flyers taking down the Montreal Canadiens. And again, it's a long season. A lot of things get your mind wrapped up in different things. The NBA starts too early, hockey starts too early, but now you start to make that playoff push, and both of these teams and also leagues start to get exciting. So we'll have a lot more of that in the show. But nice night all the way around, Jeff, and really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. You got a little Atlantic Sun getting started. You had the Flyer game. You had some random college basketball games. Good night overall. We welcome in all the listeners out there. We welcome you. Hope you had a great Monday night and you're ready for a Tuesday. We got a big week here at SBR. Hit the like button, retweet the show. Make sure you tell people about it. If you have someone out there that enjoys the show, let them know. They might like this show or the various shows here at SBR. Support the channels, support what we're doing, and yeah, hit that like button. Donnie, let's get into the show. We welcome Las Vegas, Matt, Giorgio, Nasty, JP, MVP Sports Fix. I don't really know if we want him in here today. Donnie, he made a vicious mistake last night that I got to be honest. I guess I think he's better. I don't know him a ton. I know you know him, but basically, I'll set the stage for you. I don't bet a lot of hockey, as you know. It's not something that I'm involved in. I just don't. I don't really know much about it. But I do know that Las Vegas Golden Knights are a good team. I have them in a future. I took them a while ago, and I saw last night they were no, I kind of just rode the wave. I've been riding the wave. I've been betting them live on the money line, things like that. And I had them last night, and I jumped into Gabe's chat around 1 o'clock in the morning, and this guy comes out of nowhere and goes, "It was like 5 minutes ago." He goes, what a win by the Golden Knights." It's like he comes in and says that. It's just like the whole chat. It was 2-0 at that point. The whole chat just knew what would happen, and of course they lose, but I had to feel like the guy's better than that. I don't really, I don't know him like that, but come on, Donnie. I mean, you can't be doing that. 5 minutes left in the game.
No, the rule of thumb here with the gambling gods to not anger them and appease them, Jeff, is back in the day, like with the Egyptians, where we're looking at, they made the sacrifices to the gods in order for the gods to show mercy upon them, Jeff. We've done it time and time again over the years, Jeff. You never want to mush your own winning play, but it's never a bad thing, and it's always looked upon favorably, Jeff. Just like in the NCAA, if you self-report yourself, if your team is down 2-0 with 8 minutes to go, sacrifice your play to the gambling gods and say, "Loser, 0-1 tonight. It happens. We'll be back at it tomorrow." And every once in a while, Jeff, the gambling gods come back and take the sacrifice and say thank you and give you a 3-2 victory for that. But yes, never, never disrespect the gambling gods by calling a victory.
Exactly. We get into the lesson or the headlines today. Yeah, so you learn your lesson. Don't do it again. Thanks. Uh, let's go Flyers. Yeah. We continue the hockey talk with the hottest team in the NHL, down in the Philadelphia Flyers. How about this? Johnny Aduya is coming over too. I read this in some kind of trade. They get him and Peter Mrazek. This guy comes over and Donnie. It's been many years. Even I know that the Flyers haven't had a goalie in some time. But you bring in the Czech, the guy that has been with the Red Wings and some other teams. And what has this team won, Donnie? How many in a row? 10 in a row?
I think they 10-0-1 in the last 11, but extremely hot over there. But you're right, Jeff. It's same thing about Major League Baseball. It's about your starting pitching staff. Same thing about hockey. It's about your goalie, who can lead you to victory. In the NFL, it's about your quarterback. If you don't have those at a power position, I'm not even saying that they found like the fountain of youth here with 26-year-old Mrazek, or that he's going to be the end-all, be-all Pele Lindbergh wrapped up in the Ron Hextall. But it's nice to see, Jeff. You could just watch a game, and you don't have to be the most astute NHL hockey fan, or not even like when you tune on a game, If you watch last night, you would say, you know what? That goalie looks like he's going to be pretty damn good or a pretty good goalie altogether. But you're right, Jeff. Since, the Roman Czechmanic days of the early 2000s, or, you got Bobrovsky for a rookie year and then you trade him away, a lot of flash in the pan goaltenders. Maybe this one will stick for our Flyers.
They are now the leaders in the Metropolitan Division, fourth in points in the East. How about that? How about that, Donnie?
Not to, hey, when's the
Flyers.
last time the Flyers were in first place and doing anything out there? So it's not. And again, sometimes you just want to enjoy an extended season, Jeff. If the Sixers and the Flyers make the playoffs, that extends right into those early summer months. How much fun is that? It takes away, into the Phillies. Then you can lean on the Eagles again coming in. But it's nice to have postseason play. When's the last time we had both the Flyers, Jeff, and the Sixers in the playoffs, man? It's been a long time.
Oh, it has been a long time.
Yeah.
It's funny, Donnie. The other night they were talking about the Sixers, how they haven't won 8 in a row in a while, and they reported that the last time they had won 8 in a row, the team was, I think it was Willie Green, Andre Miller, Iguodala, Dallenberg, and who was the other? Who was their other? Who was their four that year?
Todd
I think
McCullough,
Thad
who
Young.
knows?
No, I think Thaddeus Young. I think, which I actually
Who was
like
by the
those
way?
teams.
I can't remember who's the big white kid. I believe was from Washington that be able to step out and hit threes. Big
Spencer
white dude.
Hall.
Halls. Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he had him too. Yeah, it was. I actually didn't hate those teams like 08, 09 when they had they actually would get to the playoffs, and I remember they beat the Magic one year, and if you remember, Donnie, Iguodala hit a big shot over Hidu Turkoglu back in the day. It was kind of like right after Iverson left, and they brought him back at one point, but that was the last time they had won 8 games. So yeah, it's a good time right now in the city. Some teams you're doing some good things, and I'm excited to hear it. Donnie, we move on to the Sixers, and this is kind of national news. There are some billboards over in Cleveland that are, kind of hinting at a LeBron, you know, visit to Philadelphia and come to this town. And Donnie, as the weeks continue to pass by, you're starting to see more and more that Philadelphia might just be the best pick for LeBron James. They have the cap space. Okay, they have a young core. They have the money. They have, a, as far as the core, they have really exciting players. I mean, this team is. Could you imagine playing with a young Embiid, a young Ben Simmons? I don't think it's as foolish as people might think anymore to have LeBron come to Philadelphia. And I don't know if you saw this last night, and I'm not going to mention it too much just because this has been reported before, but the guy that tweeted this out is a bit more credible as far as what I believe and don't believe. You know Jason Martinez. I know Jason Martinez. We both know him. I've actually had run-ins with him before. He used to be the producer on Mike Missinelli's show. Now he has his own show on The Fanatic. Did you see what he tweeted out last night, Donnie?
Now, was it last night or was it the night before that? Because that story has been corrected a few different times. But I did see he knows somebody was there where LeBron's representatives were at Malvern Prep. And then they had another tweet last night that said the board met at Malvern Prep and they have no idea what anybody's talking about. First and foremost in this, I'm pretty sure a school like Malvern Prep or somebody, if you're going to have a high level person, let's just say the president is going to bring his kids and maybe look at Malvern, it's probably heightened security where you don't want anything to get out. So I don't know what's going on in there, but I wouldn't put it past anywhere LeBron saying, all right, there's probably 5 cities I'm looking at. Let me just send, an extension of my family to each one of those cities, every other week just to check out some schools in the area. That's not too far-fetched to believe, Jeff.
Yeah, it's kind of something we've heard a lot about lately, and these some of these radio guys, it's like, all right, well, stop doing that. It's kind of getting old, but I guess again, people are excited. The billboards are kind of doing their thing. The problem is, from what I've heard, he doesn't even drive past this billboard, so I don't know. I guess it's just kind of a whole thing of.
Yeah, but and by the way, it's not this. And if anybody's not keyed to it, there's 3 billboards in Cleveland went up by a local company in Philadelphia. The best part about this, Jeff, is he bought those ad spaces for a full 3 months. Wasn't like send it up there on a Tuesday, we'll take pictures and we'll get some, a little bit of hype out of it. This is going to be up for 3 full months in Cleveland. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, we obviously got some time. But Jeff Slaughter, I don't think if Simmons. I don't know that he necessarily has to shoot. I mean, he's a point guard. If he continues and just does what he's doing now, and they had LeBron there. They had what do you mean you don't want LeBron in Philly? Listen, these Sixer fans that want to say they wouldn't want LeBron in Philly. Are you nuts? Are you fucking nuts? I mean, come on, Donnie. I mean, he's the best player ever, arguably. You don't want him in Philadelphia? Why would LeBron move his family to Philly? Will never happen. Okay,
Yeah,
Kasim.
why
I
would
mean,
he move him to
obviously,
Cleveland?
right, exactly. Yeah, Kasim, no offense, dude, but like the whole weather thing, he doesn't care about that. The guy can live in LA if he wants. He can live in Miami if he wants. He wants to win. He wants to make the most money he can. It's about excitement. It's about what he can do for his career to broaden it. It's about winning championships, Kasim. And it's not calling him LeBum. I mean, come on, man. I mean, really. Listen, I don't like the guy personally. He's kind of kind of be a dick at times, but the guy's an amazing basketball player. I love these people that call him LeBum. I mean, are you kidding? I mean, he's arguably the best player ever. Kiss the ring,
Yeah,
dude.
we're in a hater society. And also to the other point, he'll stay in either Cleveland or go to LA. Both of those are out. He's not going to be in either one of those cities next year. Number one, to win a championship in basketball, Jeff, half the battle is making it to the finals. LeBron does not want to go to the Lakers with that chop ass team out there and get sizzled for the next 3 to 4 years by Golden State and for the Rockets. He's not going out west. Those teams will knock each other off. He will stay in the East, and he will not be in Cleveland because I'm going to say it right now. There's businessmen out there. There's owners. There's people that want to make money. There's people that don't mind taking a little bit of a loss. But I don't know many owners out there, Jeff. They're going to pay $300 million in payroll on an NBA basketball team. LeBron, that's his get-out-of-jail-free card where everybody can say, you know what? I don't blame Dan Gilbert for not paying LeBron that much and having a $300 million payroll. I don't blame LeBron for leaving because he had no choice to stay in Cleveland. That's coming, and he will stay in the East because it's easier to make the finals in the East. End of story.
Exactly. And so as far as Sixers not needing him, I'm not sure if anyone knows, but they don't have a two guard. JJ Redick's not staying with the Sixers. You know, they don't that three. I don't like Covington either. I mean, I could move on from him if I wanted to. What do you mean they don't need him? Yeah, they do. They would take him wholeheartedly. Look, I get people don't like LeBron James. I get that, but
hey Jeff, theoretically the Yankees don't need Kershaw. Why would the Yankees ever want Kershaw? They don't need him.
they don't need Stanton. But you go out and get the best players.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Exactly.
Donnie, I have one last thing I want to say about Arizona, and I know we talked about this yesterday. I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it today. I fully am starting to get to the point where I don't believe this story at all. Okay, I don't think it's true. I think it's a horrible, massive failure journalistically, if that's even a word. I don't think this is true, and we're starting to see come out that this story was fucked up from the beginning. And I want to shout out to the people at this great website, 24/7 Sports, who, are generally very good. They're a recruiting website. It's a website that I've followed for a while. And I kind of wondered about some of the things you have here because it's really just about simply, Donnie, looking back at the dates that have been discussed here. Okay. And according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, they noted by multiple parties who had conversations with Dawkins that the phone calls have been recorded specifically during the dates of June 19, 2017 and September 25th, 2017. I don't know if you know this, Donnie, but Ayton had already been signed with Arizona. It happened almost a year beforehand. And he arrived on campus 9 days before the call was even made. And the same day the call was made, he had already been there and had orientation with the university. I'm starting to also find just little things that it just doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, now ESPN's coming out making corrections to the story. We still have nothing on Sean Miller. Sean Miller basically is just standing there. We're wondering what the story with him is. I'm just thinking more and more that this story isn't true. I don't see it. I don't think it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. The dates just conflict, Donnie.
Well, I mean, you have to get paid when you go there. Maybe they thought they might have been able to get out of it. He gets on campus. Like, where's my $100,000? Oh, you're already signed, sealed, and delivered. It's like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'll just sit out the year. I don't care. I'm that good of a player. All these guys, the top level guys, they're paid. They're paid players. They're paid mercenaries.
Okay, so explain the date thing then. and explain why ESPN
The date doesn't have
continues to make
anything to do
records.
with like the FBI doesn't wiretap just based on whims. They don't just send a wiretap to Jeff Nadeau's house
Oh,
to
they
see what
don't?
he's going to play tonight. Like they
They
work
really?
hours and months and months and months. If a coach is on tape securing $100,000 payment for a guy that was wishy-washy through his entire process, he got paid. But you know what the best part about it is, Jeff? He's not going to get in trouble. He's going to play this year. He'll go to the NBA, and Arizona will melt down to the core like a nuclear reactor. That's what's going to take place at Arizona. But Aiden,
Donnie,
he's not going to have any punishment whatsoever.
I think you're being blinded here a bit. I mean,
They're one of the
again,
most
you
crooked
might be right.
programs of all
I might be
time,
right.
Jeff. They already threw a coach off the staff, 6 months ago with 6 felony convictions through the FBI. This is one of the most dirty programs in the country. If we were talking about, let's just say, Mount St. Mary's, I'd be like, you know what? I don't think they probably did that. But Arizona is dirty to the core. Their entire athletic program is a mess. They're going to melt out there. But Ayton, good for him. I hope he got the $100,000, and he's going to be on his way to the NBA and make a few $100 million. But Arizona and Sean Miller, they will burn to the ground.
Okay. Well, Donnie, listen, I'm going to go on record right now as saying I don't think this story is true. And I think in the next couple weeks.
Bruce Bowen was getting money. Bowen. He is average as hell.
I'm not saying, Donnie, I'm not saying that's not happening. All I'm saying is I don't think this particular story is true. That's all. And I'm going to hope that it isn't. And I'm hoping that maybe they'll get it somewhere else and they'll figure it out somewhere else. I don't think he took money. I don't think he was offered money. I think the story's bullshit. If the story's so true, why have we had any proof of this? There's been nothing. It's just some kind of.
Yeah, but Jeff, nobody would do that. Like you would never, like if the FBI wiretapped my house, they would never get me saying, I want to kill my wife in 3 weeks.
Donnie,
because I just,
Donnie,
and you can't get out of that. Like, oh, I was just joking around. Donnie, you were talking to a hitman and you're setting up a hit. It's just joking around. Sean Miller,
Donnie,
why did you sit out on Saturday night if nothing was wrong? Shouldn't Sean Miller have just coached that game and be like, the hell, I don't know what they're talking about.
Then give the evidence to the defense. That's what you do in federal cases.
It's common. Yes.
It's not common. You have to.
It's not released yet. They're not released yet, though. They'll give they're going to give their whole perp walk, press conference and say exactly what the findings are.
It's not about. I'm not saying it's about. I'm not. As far as me hearing the tape, I'm not saying that. But the defense, i.e., Ayton's parents, the lawyers for Sean Miller,
what are they going to say? If you're up there on a murder trial, Jeff, you're going to plead. You have mass murderers who kill 30 people at a time, plead not guilty.
Can't leave it out.
They don't provide them with the evidence before you're getting charged with anything. In what world does the police give you all the evidence before charges come down? Never.
They have to provide the fucking wiretaps, Donnie. It's true. It happens in every case,
After they get charged. Nobody's been charged yet. They don't give Nicky Scarfo wiretaps before the case.
There are no charges.
You have to charge people. The charges are coming, but you don't just hand over your evidence before charges are out there.
As far as, and I want to make this perfectly clear, and I'm going to put Donnie out there for a minute. As far as this whole thing, Donnie wants to see every kid and coach burn.
No, I told you. I would love to see if people got paid and people did roids and the game is better. I'm all for that. But don't tell me that there's money out there to be taken and everybody just plays stupid like nobody has any idea. These kids are bought and paid for decades on AAU circuits. From the time they're 10 years old, they're getting handouts everywhere through. And all of a sudden, when they get to college, I don't know nothing. I never heard about this runner. Are you kidding me? Come on.
This story is not true, and it will be proven in several weeks. And then, as always, I'll come on here and say, I was right. You'll see. I promise. Donnie, I mean, again, the story doesn't make any sense. And it's already being conflicted. ESPN's already come out and made corrections.
Hold on. Let's break it down to the smallest point here. I am the single best player in the country in basketball, right?
He's going to make millions next year.
They don't care. That has nothing to do with next year. This is free money for kids. You're an 18-year-old. You have your handout, and so does your family. But if you're going to go to a school, I'm going to Kansas. Why did you switch at the last minute? I don't know. I just wanted to go to Arizona. Why is Arizona's head coach on tape saying, I'm going to make sure I get this guy $100,000? Where there's smoke, the inferno is going to burn down. It's a dirty business. Arizona just got caught. They were stupid. That's all.
Okay, so you're believing one guy that says there's some. Maybe it was. How do we
know?
Not
one guy, though. Look at Arizona's Jeff. Arizona already had a couple coaches.
And you know who it is, Donnie?
Fraud.
You know who the guy that's reporting this shit is? A fucking rat. That's all he is. He's looking to save his own skin and do this and do that. I'm telling you,
That's how the
you're gonna
mafia comes down. Rats bring the mafia down all the time.
you'll
All the time.
and you know what? You know what's great? The fucking FBI, all these shitheads are getting disproven. It's happening already. You can't trust these fucking rat junky losers that want to sit on the stand and get paid. It's bullshit. The whole informant system is bullshit. It's a fucking crime. It's a shame. It's and I'm not talking about the mob. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about. I think in the end, I don't think this case will be able to be proven. There's been no charges yet. There still hasn't been anything involved with. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Um, I just don't think it's true. That's all I'm saying. You might be right. Maybe at some point the kid did take money. I'm just saying in this particular situation, it doesn't add up to me. That's all. And I'm starting to see that more and more with this case. And maybe look, it's like in The Wire when Omar was put in jail for that murder that he didn't commit. Bunk said to him, if you didn't do this, you did others. And it was kind of okay. Well, you're not going to get me for this one, but hey, we're just going to leave you in anyway because we know you did something else. That doesn't make it right, and someone else out there did do it. I don't know. We'll see. It's a fascinating story with a lot of fascinating parts. We'll see how it goes. But we have in this country, this informant system is a fucking wreck. We're putting junky, scumbag, the subhumans of the earth on the stand. And not only are we doing that and we're getting them off things, but we're paying them hundreds of thousands
Yeah,
of
but that's
dollars
not only the stand. I
to
would agree
lie.
with you, Jeff. If some lackey just took the stand and said Sean Miller's paying everybody and there's no evidence, I would agree. But when you're wiretapped, when you go into the scene and the coach is like, hell yeah, man, I probably worked with you a dozen times. 100 grand, let's seal this deal. That's when you go down. Nobody's just going to believe the junkie on the street just running his mouth. You need actual proof of this.
Donnie, here's the only thing, and then I'll wrap this up. All I'm trying to prove here, Donnie, is all I think is Christian Dawkins is some low-level shithead that
He's not low
tried.
level, though.
He, he threw this out. The lawyers threw this out as some thing to hope it sticks. All I'm saying is there's been nothing really to prove his comment. If we see it down the road, we'll see it. And then I'll say, you know what? Okay, I heard him. But this could be just Christian Dawkins' lawyers throwing some bullshit out. That's all it is. There's been no criminal charges here. And at the end of the day, we can make cases on all this stuff. It's fairly low level crimes. What exactly is the the FBI trying to prove here with this case? It's
Yeah,
still
no,
not
I
going to
don't know what they're
prevent.
doing. You're right with
It,
that.
it,
It's not an
Donnie, if you
FBI
have a
issue
kid,
because it's
if
technically
you
not
right,
breaking the law in college. It's
right.
not like these kids can get money. When these kids get money, it's not them. It's the people that get in trouble are the agents who lose their accreditation with the NBA or the NFL. The kids
right,
getting the
which we
money,
don't
they
care
don't.
about
There's no
this.
penalty. Otherwise, you would put them in jail when they're in the NBA. Like Derrick Rose would be in jail right now. No, they're actually not breaking the law. You're right.
Right. And again, I mean, we don't care if they are because agents are scumbags anyway. So we don't give a fuck if all of them get thrown away. All I'm saying is in 5 years, let's say, Donnie, if you have a kid and he's coming up in the, in the ranks in high school and stuff, and he takes $20,000, this isn't going to prevent that. I mean, you really think Aiton, if he did do this, do you think he's really worried about this? There's no crime here. He's not gonna. It's like you taking money from someone and they pay you. I mean, you probably have some tax implications there from this stuff, like with Aiton. But
No,
other
I've
than
never.
that,
There's never been a case in the history of college athletics where a kid got paid. The only one that was really close, Jeff, if you remember, was Chris Webber getting like 250 grand from a booster who worked in a union somewhere, and the guy actually died before the trial took place, so no charges were ever laid. But no player is ever going to jail. The only thing they do is lose their eligibility. That's it.
correct. Listen, and Aiton could care fucking less. And as far as rest in peace Arizona basketball, listen, this is not good. This is not good at all. I'm sure there'll be sanctions if this is proven and cut in. But here's what I'll say. Let's say Aiton stuff is not true and it's a fabrication. Then what? There's nothing else. They didn't pay to anyone else that we can prove. Sean Miller, who knows? Maybe he'll lose his job. But at the end of the day, Donnie, I brought this up the other day. Baylor basketball went through a murder investigation. Their coach lied and tried to get players to lie with him. They made it through. I mean, all these other universities have made it through. And let's say it doesn't. It goes on a death penalty for a year or two, and they come back. They'll be
You'll just
fine.
get dirt.
Um,
You'll just get dirtier again,
right,
Jeff. Yep.
right.
What's the best way to come back from a death penalty? Pay them kids, boy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a rolling thing, and it's like when the FBI realizes that nobody cares, nobody's worried about this, um, nobody's going to jail. I mean, no one's going to prison for a long time here with this stuff. Exactly, Al Servic. Great point. Um, let's keep it moving here, Donnie. Very interesting news today, though. I always enjoy that uh, that segment. We go down to the NCAA recap, Donnie, and we relive Monday evening, which was a pretty fun evening. The Duke University Blue Devils um, continue to be inconsistent, and the talent is there with this group. And the regular season at this point, we're really just talking about it. It's not really important. I mean, Duke's going to the tournament; they're going to be a very high seed. But this was an interesting game, Donnie. You had a game here with Virginia Tech where the Hokies are good at home. They're a solid basketball team. Defense has been more important to this group this year. And you look at that line in this game yesterday. It sat at 5.5 all day. Whole world was on Duke. Line didn't move. That was a bit of a red flag here, Donnie. Vatek gets a big W here. And Duke, you look at them, they continue to struggle. I mean, you look at the guard play last night. Grayson Allen was very good, but you just are never getting all these kids on the same page. Trent had 5, Duval had 7. Duval's been extremely disappointing this year as a player. Um, just not enough scoring last night for Duke.
No, you're right. I watched the game, and it all comes down to, Jeff, when you're a younger team, you have chances to put games away on the free throw line or make defensive stops. They were up 5 points late in that game, Jeff. Just couldn't get the big basket or make the 1-and-1. And again, it's kind of funny when you watch Duke, because everybody always says that Duke gets all the calls. There was a huge miss on that free throw, which Virginia Tech got the ball back, where they literally mugged. I believe it might have been Bagley or it was Carter on the sideline going after the ball. Literally got mugged going after it with no call, which is a big one in the game. But hey, is there anybody going to cry over a spilled milk for Duke losing at Virginia Tech yesterday? No.
No.
One thing it did do is Duke's going to make the tournament. They'll be a high seed. But I think Virginia Tech, Jeff, punched that ticket right now into the tournament. So congratulations. Big win. Great atmosphere for a game, too.
Yeah, no, great point. There's a couple teams that we'll get into later in the hitting the hardwood that have some similar situations tonight. Donnie, a very small game, but a big implication. Norfolk State cover and are now in business in the MEAC. How about this team, Donnie? Norfolk State, they've won 9 of 10. They're now tied in how about a log jam in this conference, Donnie? You have 5 teams at 11-4 in the MEAC as we head into the final game of the season. How about that? An interesting conference race down in the Mid-East Athletic Conference. Interesting win, big win last night. Better cover with Norfolk State, and now you got a log jam, Donnie. I know you're interested in this down in the MEAC.
Yes, I'll be down there we'll be doing a live show from the MEAC tournament next week, so look out for that. I'm only joking about that. But no, it's interesting. I saw that tweet come out, Jeff. How rare is that? When's the last time we had a 5-way tie with 1 game to go? And what would really have been interesting, Jeff, if the MEAC actually didn't have a conference tournament and it was just decided on like a coin flip or who beat who or what would happen. But that's madness. That's pretty cool because, again, you're heading down the stretch in these conferences. It's not so much that they think they're going to win a national championship. Their national championship is winning that conference. That's what's important to them. And it shows to be. It might be a wild, wild tournament where if you have 5 guys tied at the top, I can't imagine what the conference tournament's going to be like, Jeff.
It's interesting, Donnie. It's actually pretty cool because, like, you look at the last game of the season, like Norfolk State, they're one of the 5 teams. They actually play Hampton, another 11-4 team. Savannah State, they're in there. They probably have the best game. They play South Carolina State, who has had trouble. But all these teams are playing, no one's playing Delaware State here. No one's playing Coppin. No one's playing Maryland Eastern Shore. They're all playing good teams, and it's going to be a fun finish here at the MEAC. Always a interesting tournament. You never know what will happen in some of these games. But if you had Norfolk State last night, you got the chicken. Donnie, there were a lot of overs last night. I wanted to point this out. 11 games last night, 8 overs. A lot of them came in, many of which were in the Atlantic Sun, which a fun tournament last night. And, the old reliable boys really came through. Your, Florida Gulf Coast, your North Floridas, your Jacksonvilles, your Lipscombs. this conference really kind of went to bore last night and kind of came out like we thought it would. Some of the old reliable teams are right in there, and now you have 4 teams left, probably the 4 best teams. This is going to be a fun finish with a final on Friday, Donnie. Coming up here, you got North Florida, Florida Gulf Coast, Jacksonville, Lipscomb, 8-team tournament. Who's your winner, Donnie?
I mean, in the Atlantic Sun, who's going to win that?
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast, you think?
Oh, it's go. Yeah, you got to. That's Dunk City, man. Come on. I mean, how do you go against Dunk City?
That's who I picked. I did think
Yeah.
that, and I do think, and this is going to be a great game. If Lipscomb makes the final, that will be a fun game. I think those are the 2 best teams. Should be a fun one. But the old kind of reliable teams kind of get through. North Florida, big underdog last night. They went outright against
Yeah.
New Jersey Technical
JIT.
Institute. By the way, with NJIT, I've always wondered this: why are they in the Atlantic Sun? I mean, it's like they're nowhere near any of these other teams.
Yeah, they're just trying. I guess early on, you have one of those come ups, and we saw that they were like the Road Warriors, Jeff, for like 5 years, where they would go like 2-27. It seemed like just playing a barnstorming. I think they were just trying to get an affiliation with somebody to show that they could be a viable program, but that'll change. NJIT, Jeff, they're probably fast tracked on to like the A10 within the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Texas Tech, one other one. They dropped 4 straight. Texas Tech really limping into the tournament, Donnie. They
Sure too.
they look like one of the best defenses in the country. Last night they get crushed. They give up 84 points. And look, starting to have some issues. Zach Smith hasn't played. I guess they're resting him. West Virginia, one of the more weird teams in the country, Donnie. West Virginia sometimes looks great. The next night they look bad. They're going to be an interesting team come tournament time. But Kansas has locked and loaded that conference for Bear. We move on, Donnie. Lipscomb is in Nashville, right? Lipscomb is in Tennessee. That is correct. Vandy is so bad, and Missouri's a solid road team. All right, we'll get to that one. Michael Porter is questionable tonight. Michael Porter, it seems like he's been questionable last week. But I will say this, Donnie. What a kid. What a kid that guy is, Michael Porter. Did you see the video over the weekend of
About the
him
baddies
shooting his shot? I got to give it to him. He's totally right. I watched those Kentucky games, and there are some fine-looking women down there.
Who wouldn't do
the
that?
ones that go
That's
to
like, yeah, who wouldn't do? I would like to see somebody like, oh, look at that. Like, you don't think every single college kid is going to these big arenas? They're all around hot women all the time because they're superstar athletes. And if you're not in the game, what are you doing during a timeout, Jeff? You're surfing the crowd, man. Come on. Yes.
But it's so like what any kid would do. It's like
Yes.
you're sitting there bored. You're on like one of the 8,000 TV timeouts that they have. You look over at your boy and be like, "Yo, you see that blonde over there, dude? She's fly, man." Like, it's. I love the video. I thought it was great. I love Michael Porter, man. I have a man crush on the kid. He's a great player. I think he's going to be a star, and I hope at some point, we do see him. I don't think we will, honestly, but I guess according to executives, they're saying that he should play if he can, which is interesting. They
Well,
want to see
Jeff.
him.
I'm glad you brought that up. I saw that come across. Now, here's the problem that I have with NBA scouts: how they can't scout high school kids correctly, which is why they don't want the one and done, because GMs and scouting staffs are too stupid to realize what they're actually doing and ruining their own franchises. Jeff, did I read this correctly, Jeff? Please explain this to me. If Michael Porter comes out and plays poorly, it might only affect him a little bit. But if he plays well, he might be number 2. If you're worried about him missing 6 months of basketball and playing in 2 games where maybe his jumper is not right, you're going to downgrade him 10 spots in the draft? What the hell do NBA front offices look at? Is this hilarious to me, or is it only me it's hilarious to?
Well, I think it's important to mention that, Donnie, a lot of the time with most of the big recruits, most of the big kids, Aiton, players like that, the talent's already there. I mean, they're aware of what the talent is. The whole college thing, I mean, college, I don't think it's a huge indicator, unless it's a terrible season or something, but I don't think it's a huge indicator on what they'll do at the next level. To me, I think scouts already are aware of what the talent is, the level of the talent is. I think Michael Porter can only help himself. I don't think it's going to hurt him or anything. A couple shots.
That was basically what it said. Like, he needs to come back and go for like 24 and 10 in his last 3 games, and then we'll move him up. But if he doesn't go for 24 and 10, I'm not going to draft him high.
I have him top 5 still. I think he's
Yes.
still a top
Yes.
5 player. And as far as him, I mean, you look at. I think the only concern nowadays is maybe the whole, Markel Fultz crap. With like, maybe a player you want to do a little bit more due diligence on a player, kind of before you make decisions. Just because you look at him, I mean, he looked great, and then he, comes out and he isn't. Donnie, I want to make one quick draft point on a kid to look out for. That I've watched a lot lately. I think he has some tremendous talent. And I've always been pretty good with this draft stuff. Have you seen Justin Tillman play down at VCU?
Yes. Yes.
He
Many
is
times.
fantastic. I love that kid,
Athletic,
man.
to
I
say the
hope he,
least.
I hope he, yeah, I hope he gets a shot at the next level. He is great
He
size.
will.
Looks
He's
like
too
everything.
athletic. Yes,
Yeah,
he's very athletic. Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know that he's. You look at some of these drafts. I don't know that he's necessarily in there yet, but I think down the road, this is a guy I'm all over. I like this kid
No,
a lot.
that was those, Shaka Smarts, Will Wade type of drafting, which I mean, they had those pogo stick type players to get after. It looks like, VCU is going to come back down on that mountain unless they get somebody to resurge that program in there. But you're right about it. They seemingly down at VCU over the past, what, Jeff, 5 to 10 years have got some electric athletes, and he's the latest in line.
He's an extraordinary talent, man. I like him a lot. I'd like to see what he'll do at the next level. Let's Donnie get into tonight's action. What do we have on the card?
Yeah, let's take a look here. If we slide that down, I believe Juan Mosby behind the scenes on that one. There's a couple games that we picked out here, Jeff, but I know also you want to get to a few of them, and we're going to try to do this over the next 15 minutes, Jeff. We'll go over a couple of these nips and notes, and I know, Jeff, you have some separate ones. Auburn, Arkansas is a decent one, Jeff, to start off the card tonight. SEC heavy, as you see it on the bottom of the screen, but we'll slide in some other games that we like. 1,500 tickets, Jeff, have been tracking this one already. A 50-50 ticket split. Ooh. Exactly what I like to see. Line opened up at 2 at Pinnacle and Chris, Jeff. Now down to 1 across the board. It's hard to play at the Bud versus Arkansas, but we saw a resilient and the best team to me in the SEC. Auburn going to head into town here, Jeff. Is this one that we can chalk up where the Bud's going to be rocking and Arkansas is going to be too much? But we've seen an Auburn team limp around in basketball games, Jeff, and still win. What can we anticipate from this SEC tilt tonight?
Yeah, but they're you're starting to see some chinks in the armor down at Auburn. I mean, you're starting to see, I think, a season catch up to them where I think injuries have just been there's just been a little too many here. Anthony McLemore is a big loss. He's one of your better rim protectors. That's a concern. You mentioned their ability at the Bud Walton Arena to play. Mike Anderson's teams always seem to play well there. They're in the tournament, Arkansas, but I don't think they're a great seed. I think they're an 8-9 kind of game. I think they still need to improve a bit. I'm not in love with Auburn right now. The team kind of, like I said, shown some chinks. Um, I still think at some point Bruce Pearl is going to have to explain himself. I wonder about some of the recruiting tactics there. They have a guy named Mustafa Heron, and I'm not putting out anything, but his recruitment to me is to this day a bit of a question mark. I wonder about that. He's from Connecticut. He kind of randomly chose Auburn. It's kind of a weird thing. I wonder where that will go at one point. But yeah, I would lean Arkansas here. It's kind of a tough one. But Arkansas is so good at home, 14-2, 85 points a game. They've been a bit better defensively, but they're going to have to make sure they're good enough defensively because in conference, they've struggled at times. It should be a fun game. I'd probably look over the number here just because, Auburn, I think without McLemore is not as good as they might have been defensively. I think both these teams will get out and run, both very high tempo. I would probably lean over in this.
Jeff, so what you're saying there down in Alabama is Mustafa Heron probably went to one of those illegal Bruce Pearl barbecues and closed the deal with them there?
It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know that I understand it. His decisions. This is kind of where I felt like Kevin Ollie missed. This would have been a guy who would have been all over. He had some other decent offers. Um, I don't know. You wonder about it because they were involved in that recruiting scandal in September. So
You know, Jeff,
yeah,
real quick final point on that. We make the joke, like, how you look at like $100,000 payments and people getting paid now. Let's not forget what the NCAA used to think they had control of. They kicked basically Bruce Pearl out of basketball, Jeff, because he lied about a barbecue where a recruit was there. Can you imagine, like, how far have we regressed in the NCAA where that's what they used to care about, and now we're all there? Maybe if they cared about the right things, Jeff, they would let the barbecue slide and actually got the bagman instead, right?
Yeah, I mean that would be a good idea. You're totally right. I mean, look, Bruce Pearl I think's gotten railroaded a bit. I mean, he's kind of he just had some little run-ins, nothing crazy. As far as one of the commenters, Donnie, saying that Auburn has the fastest tempo in the nation, that's not correct. They're 46th, not the fastest. Fastest tempo in the country, Savannah State.
S- Isn't Savannah
So yeah,
Citadel one of those teams? Yeah, they're up there. Those
Savannah and
teams.
Citadel, Wyoming's high, Bethune-Cookman, Marshall, Oklahoma, Lipscomb. They're the high ones. As far as Auburn, they're very fast. They're not the fast. Let's
All
keep
right,
it
Jeff. Yeah,
going, Donnie.
yeah, quick one here, Jeff. 525, 526, Florida, Bama, about 1,100 tickets tracked. 60% of those tickets, Jeff, on Colin Sexton's boys at home in Alabama. Line opened up at 2.5, now sitting and dropping a little bit, Jeff, down to 2 across the board. Florida bounce back here, or is Alabama going to make a push here?
I don't have much in this game other than I think Alabama at home is the bet. They've been great all year in that stadium, 8-5 against the number. You really wonder what Florida team's going to show up. Sometimes they look great. Sometimes they look bad, frankly. Tough game for me. But I'd give the edge to Alabama at home. They've been a team that I've been betting all year at Coleman House.
Jeff, sometimes you want to bet on senior night. Sometimes you want to use that in your arsenal. Sometimes senior night really doesn't matter because damn near some of these teams don't have any seniors that even worth a damn or even starter in the top 8. Not the case here, Jeff. 531, 532. That's the St. Joseph Hawks going up the turnpike here to play Rhode Island. 450 tickets tracked. Heavy betting on Rhode Island at this point, and you can't blame them, Jeff. I mean, over the past, month, 2 months, 3 months at home for Rhode Island. They've been putting teams away. Line opens up at 14, has dropped a little bit to 13.5, but this is senior night at Rhode Island for a senior class that has given Rhode Island a lot. Already champions in the A10. We'll see the motivation coming out in here. Is this going to be one of those games, Jeff, late in the day or late in the game, which watching last night, Jeff, in the A-Sun, I watched the finish of the last 2.5 minutes of Florida Gulf Coast. It got a little bit dicey because they were up so much, they took everybody out of the game. That might be the case with Rhode Island here. Too many points for Rhode Island, Jeff? Or they just run away and celebrate tonight their A-10 championship on senior
Yeah,
night?
I kind of wonder about Rhode Island. I wonder how they're 14-9 to the number. It seems like they never cover. I don't know how they're that good against the spread. It seems like I said, they don't ever cover. But I don't know about this one. It's interesting, Donnie. I want to make this clear to the listeners. Donnie and I kind of missed on the show this morning. I forgot to send him the games that I wanted, and he put his in. So we're kind of mixing and matching here. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a tough one, Donnie. I think with Rhode Island, the always growing concern late in games is, are they going to put you on the foul line? We've seen that in certain games. St. Joe's is not as bad as their record indicate. They have some players, Shavar Newkirk and Tyler Funk, and they have some guys there. Demery, they have some decent players. Martelli is always a guy that I'm not a big fan of betting against just because he's been there so many years and he's a
Yeah.
smart coach. This is a lot of points in a game that should be a fairly easy decider. Rhode Island, if they win this game, you look last night, Donnie, with Kansas. That's a perfect example of a game that there's just too many points. Texas looked dead and buried. You don't want to get involved, and they end up covering the number late in the game. I mean, it's just too many points. Kansas didn't care. The game had been over. The good thing about St. Joe's, and one thing you got to respect with this group year after year, they do not turn the basketball over. One of the better teams in the country at taking care of the ball. They're not going to give you easy buckets. If a team doesn't give you easy buckets, it's hard to cover some of these big numbers sometimes. I would look for St. Joe's to probably sit on the ball a little bit late in this game and maybe try to you know get a cover late. I would probably lean Joe.
Jeff, the board's yours right now. Why don't you pick a game or two out here just to break down real quick, and we'll keep it moving. Something that you have your eye on tonight, maybe an added edge for the people out there.
Yeah, I got two here. And again, these are games that I'm actively looking into a little bit more. I want to kind of see where the numbers move. Mississippi State's a big one for me at home tonight against Tennessee. Mississippi State, Donnie, squarely on the bubble. They are first four out team right now. And this is a huge game down in their home stadium, a place that they're 18-1 this year, Donnie. Straight up. Say that again. Mississippi State is 18-1 in the SEC at home. In this conference this year, opponents only shooting 43% against Mississippi State. And at home, they're only shooting 40% against the Bulldogs. This team has been very good defensively. Tennessee is a team that right now is really struggling to score the basketball. Uh, State's at home. They got a reason to win this game. It's a very important one to their success down the road. And if they can get the job done here, they are in the NCAA tournament. A great ascent for Ben Hallen's team. they've been a tough out all season. You got to respect what they've done. And you know what I like also, Donnie? 3 games this year. They've been a home favorite of 3 points or less. Covered all 3 of them. They're getting the job done in close games at home as a favorite. I like that notion here. I'll look towards Mississippi State. Also, a very random game, but I'm going to put it out there. I like betting these tournament games. By the way, my Big South preview will be out a little bit later. I like High Point today against Longwood. The Lancers are a bad basketball team. They're among the worst teams in the country, Longwood. And they're heading up to High Point to take on a team that's pretty good, actually. They're very good offensively, 81 points a game. They've done a great job defensively at home. And Donnie, here's the problem that Longwood has. Like any other bad basketball team, they're 1-14 on the road. They score 57.7 points on the road. That's among the worst I've seen this year. And they're giving up almost 80 points a game. They're just not any good. And you look at the success that High Point has had over Longwood, and it's largely documented. Both games this year, they won by 19 and by 20. I just think this number is a little too low. And generally in this conference, the Big South, teams like Presbyterian, Longwood, those kind of teams, they go away very quickly in games like this. They're just outmatched, even in this conference. Longwood, you can make the case, is a Division II team. A High Point, a team that has had some success over the years. I would imagine that the boys from High Point, North Carolina, will get the job done here and should win going away.
There we go. A little bit of college basketball chatter out there, Jeff. Only a couple minutes left in the show here. We'll slide it down. NFL offseason, some big movers and shakers taking place in the offseason, Jeff. Some trades that are out there. Just want to keep some people abreast. And we also have the Combine, Jeff, starting on Friday, the most meaningless 4 to 5 days in all of sports, where guys are going to move up the leaderboard because they're in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and can run in a straight line, which is all you have to do, folks. If you play football, is get in a pair of gym shorts, run in a straight line, and you will be a high NFL pick if you do it fast enough. I know I like to joke around with that stuff, but I take absolutely zero out of that. If I was an NFL owner, I would send my guys, my complete staff, to the Combine for the first 2 days and do interviews. And the minute they start bench pressing, because you bench press during an NFL game, and the minute that you start running in a straight line or jumping up and touching some pegs up there, I'm out of here, because I don't give a damn how quick my guy does the shuttle drill. I'm going to pop on some tape and watch exactly what goes on. That's my rant there for the actual Combine itself. But if we slide down the NFL offseason, Jeff, Marcus Peters goes out to the Los Angeles Rams, which to me is a good move by the Los Angeles Rams. But let's get into the little bit of bottom of this. A second-round pick, Jeff, for a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. There's a lot more that meets the eye to this one, right?
Yeah. I actually, real quick, before you get into that, I do want to mention your Combine point. I want to ask you. There's been some reports, some different news agencies have mentioned the fact that Lamar Jackson is last in odds for Wonderlic testing. And I've heard people mention the racial component here. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's dumb white guys, there's dumb black guys. Whether or not they're white or black, I don't really think has anything to do with it. But again, if you're going to come in last on a Wonderlic, one would say, were you just a good athlete and they pushed you all the way through high school or not? But there's been some. Dan Marino had a low ass Wonderlic test. He didn't turn out too bad.
Yeah, it's always kind of looking for stories here. As far as this, though, Donnie, I'm all over Josh Rosen at plus 225 to win the Wonderlic. Josh Rosen, from what I've read and I've heard about, he's a very smart kid. I'm looking towards Josh Rosen. I think he's going to win this. But as far as Donnie, you mentioned Marcus Peters. I'll tell you what, I haven't kept up much with the NFL. I do know he got traded, in the offseason. Which, look, it's going to help the LA Rams. You put him with, I guess, who would be leaving now? LaMarcus Joyner, Donnie?
Yeah, one of those guys. I mean, it's a nice move, but you're right. The Andy Reid MO, where they drafted Marcus Peters, who had a little bit of problems up in Washington, went to the NFL. But this is the Andy Reid MO. Don't forget, back in Philadelphia, we cut Jeremiah Trotter as an all-pro middle linebacker because you didn't want to pay him the franchise tag. They also had the single best wide receiver in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, Terrell Owens, get cut for absolutely nothing as well. So what would surprise you to take your best defensive player and just move him to the Rams for a second-round pick? Ha-ha, Andy Reid. We were also told in the past, Jeff, that Andy Reid You're going to be so unhappy that you got moved on from Andy Reid, Philadelphia Eagle fans. You don't know what you have till it's gone. Ace, Andy Reid.
Yeah, he's done wonders out in Kansas City too. Donnie, we wrap up the show today. We
Mhm.
appreciate everyone's candor and banter on the show. We ride off into a Tuesday sunset, and we have plenty to do. I have plenty to do. Bet Buffet will be on a little bit later. Look out for that around 3 o'clock Eastern. Always enjoy talking with Drew Martin about the different conferences and all that sort of thing. Um, as far as anything else, I don't have anything else. Yeah, Cam, I don't bet on La Liga. I mean, sorry, what do you want from me? I have way too much to do. The Wonderlic test is a small, quick bet that I'll make. Yes, I will bet on the Wonderlic over La Liga. I don't bet La Liga.
Nice.
Sorry. Other than that, everyone have a great day. We appreciate Juanma for checking out and helping us with the camera work today and the producing. We'll be back tomorrow on the roundtable with Drew Martin and Ian Cameron. Everyone have a great day. This has been the Right Side of Campus. Have a great day.